Now, coming up next, the big boys, where we see exactly how good the guys who built the cage are. There's a lot of muscle moving around in the next bout.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of bantamweights and lightweights. One of these fighters probably weighs about as much as two of the fighters that we saw earlier in the day. These guys are big boys. We're going to take you to the weigh-ins right now so you can see the visual evidence to believe how big these boys are.
Yeah.
David Kendall weighing in at 259 pounds.
A large, heavily muscled guy makes you automatically wonder how much of that is show muscle, how much is condition. Is there going to be a cardio factor involved as well? And he's taking on James Wilson at 249.2. And you know you're big when you have enough real estate on your trap muscles for almost a whole tattoo.
He doesn't look like he's the same species as us. He's a big guy. He's going to be some heavy hitters. We'll see if the cardio can keep up, though, because you got to keep those muscles going.
Well, they're both large. They both might want to get out of this thing before either one of them has to show their cardio chops. Coming up next, the main event of the amateur alpha section, the heavyweights. Oh yeah, we're ending it that big. Stay with us. Welcome back again to Palm Springs, California, here for Bamma USA presents its amateur and professional mixed martial arts. A killer show thus far, but now we end the amateur section with the big boys. Something that shows how well the cage has actually been constructed. Two guys, RJ, whose collective or individual weights even probably would be the same thing as if we amassed one person from all the combatants we've seen thus far.
Yeah, the combat sports loves the big boys, the hardest punchers, they're the biggest guys, larger than life. This one's Godzilla versus Mothra. Let's get started.
Yep, the ambassadors to the heavyweight division and the sport coming up. Here we go. Now on to the big boys. David Kendall from El Segundo, a striking and freestyle fighter, making his debut as an amateur from Team Finish Strong, and he'll need to.
He'll be taking on James Wilson, the cannibal they call him, fighting out of the hive. He's 6 feet tall, 250 pounds, and a style of karate, a style you don't see as much in mixed martial arts as you did back in the day.
Absolutely. Two guys who are stand-up fighters, heavyweights that will bang. Can you say fantasy for any fan watching? I bet you can.
Here we go to the ring for the introductions.
The fifth and final amateur bout of the evening is in the heavyweight division. Introducing first out of the blue corner, he is a freestyle fighter. He stands 6'3" tall and weighed in officially at 249 pounds. Making his amateur debut tonight from Finish Strong MMA in San Clemente, California. Let's hear it for Dave Kendall. And his opponent out of the red corner, he is also a freestyle fighter. He stands 6 foot and weighed in at 259 pounds. His record is perfect so far with 1 win and no losses. From Bowman's Dojo in Los Angeles, California, let's hear it for James Wilson.
Ready? James the Cannibal Wilson in the red, Dave Kendall in the blue. And I don't have any lunch money, but if I did, I would give it to either one of these guys right now.
You know they'd spend it well eating good food. We got two big guys. Kick starting off by James Wilson, a low kick.
The expectation with two big guys that are willing to stand and bang is this thing is going to be over in a flash. The Cannibal now takes Bacon Dave and slams him after he rams him into the cage. Now we're on the ground.
Good takedown by James Wilson. Kendall now has the full guard on James Wilson. He's got his legs wrapped around him. He's holding him down. What Wilson wants to do now is posture up, get his head up off the chest of Kendall so we can rain down some strikes.
RJ, how rare is it to see a good ground game off of your back for a heavyweight?
Unless your name's Fabricio Verdum, you're probably not going to see it. There's a lot of good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners at heavyweight, but you're right. It's generally been a little man's game in a lot of ways.
So when you got a guy like James Wilson on top of you, in fact, Bacon Dave may have gone out of the frying pan and into the,
Bazing.
Yeah. And he's got great control from top position so far, too. So far, we're not seeing much in the way of any kind of a sweep or scramble from Bacon Dave.
Wilson is pushing him up against the cage. It's a good strategy. Oh, now he's starting to rear up. See, now he's got that distance. Once you make distance between your opponent and yourself when you're on the ground, it gives you room to strike. All right, Kendall kicked it back up. We're back standing again.
Again, 3 2-minute rounds. If you weren't sure, for whatever reason, heavyweights Kendall in the blue, Wilson in the red. Wilson jabbing, and then almost his head, you see it veering off to the side. He faded behind his own jab.
Not a lot of offense out of Kendall so far in the first round. Not a lot of offense out of either guy.
And a cut, it looked on the left side of the head of Bacon Dave Kendall.
Wilson in for another takedown. Kendall going for, he has a front headlock here. He may try to turn it into a guillotine choke.
Threw some knees to the midsection of Wilson right there. Wilson took it well. Now he goes for an underhook.
He's got double underhooks. He's in a good position here to turn him back up against the cage, which looks like that's what he's doing. Not a lot of action by either guy. I have to give the round to James Wilson based purely on the one takedown that he got. That was basically all the offense of the whole fight.
So round one, RJ, the two monsters you mentioned, monster slam into the cage first goes Kendall, and then Wilson dumps him on his back.
Just the power of James Wilson to be able to ragdoll a guy that's 265 pounds. That's incredible.
Yeah, he pretty much hoisted him up and threw him around into the cage, down onto the ground, and then kept control too as well.
And that was basically the highlight of the whole round. That was the story of the round. One big takedown by James Wilson that'll take him in, probably in the advantage heading into round number 2.
Yeah, I would say so. RJ, for the second round, I think the key word, if you're in Bacon Dave Kendall's corner, is adapt. He needs to do something different. What happened in the first round, not a good repeat performance for him if he does it again.
Well, he defended the second takedown that James Wilson threw, so he's starting to kind of pay attention to it more. Big slam by Wilson started out, and he goes, or again, deja vu all over again. James Wilson timed a strike by Dave Kendall, got under it, got the double leg, and now he's got him on the ground, on his back, up against the cage. He's in good position. Now he's rearing up, striking. Now we're seeing aggression.
25% of the round already gone, by the way, too. These are 2-minute rounds, and the referee aiding Kendall and getting him back to his feet here. You seem like he's jabbing his way in, and he's being timed by Wilson. Wilson's shooting in right under the jab because he knows Kendall wants to commit to a follow-up, and he's timing it.
James Wilson game plan is crystal clear. Strike into the clinch, go for that takedown. Good strike by Kendall. Might have hurt Wilson a little bit.
Yeah, he rattled his cage a little bit with that right hand. Not enough to stop him from coming forward. The cannibal, James Wilson in the red. Bacon Dave Kendall in the blue.
Body shots here up against the cage. James Wilson just holding on. Kendall being the more aggressive striker here. Now knees to the rib area, it looks like, or a hip. Those don't tickle.
You know, Wilson trying to stop that. He's got the hooker on the one leg there momentarily. A little bit of a stall in the action, but these are two big guys that are fighting at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, Wilson wants none of the Dave Kendall stand-up. He's made that very clear. The referee breaks him up, and if you're not moving, if you're not acting, if you're not trying to advance your position, the referee's going to break you up, start you out in the center of the cage.
You see, it's almost like clockwork and machine work. It's the jab by Kendall, and then Wilson, boom, right underneath it.
Yeah, and it's good technique by James Wilson. He's not executing it. He's starting to get a little tired, I think. Those hands were getting lower when they were standing up. He's content to just kind of clinch with Dave Kendall.
Second round coming to a close, final seconds. And there we go. We're going to see the third, my friend.
I'll be damned. What are the odds?
The heavyweights taking us into deep water. Again, probably another Wilson round, not as effective aggressively as the first, but nonetheless, I think he controlled 2 rounds. If you're Bacon Dave Kendall, right here, a little bit of that jab, and then watch, when he throws it, and then boom, right underneath it goes Wilson. That's been the script thus far. Now Kendall needs to win the fight as if it's a 1-round fight. All he needs is round 3.
We finally saw some ground and pound out of Wilson this time, rearing up, landing some strikes, showing a little bit more aggression. Let's see how he plays out in the third.
So far, so good. If it's not broke, don't stop fixing it.
Here we go, round number 3.
Wilson in the red, Kendall in the blue, and in deep, deep territory. He's got to finish the cannibal to win. Again, these are heavyweights, both well over 240 pounds.
Same exact move. Dave Kendall comes in for a strike. James Wilson goes underneath for a takedown. Not able to get it, but he's in better position here. He's got Dave Kendall up against the cage, working on a single leg.
It kind of looked like he was going to pummel under momentarily, and then he chose not to.
In weird position here. Good technique by Dave Kendall. You got to push the head down. That keeps your opponent from being able to rear up and get the lift, but he does it anyway. Just the power of James Wilson is just mind-boggling to me. He's able to pick up a 260-pound Dave Kendall like a rag doll, slamming him to the canvas.
Some good takedowns from a guy who touts karate.
There might have been a little showman there, maybe showing off a little bit, lying about your background a little bit, playing mind games with your opponent, and it's working because he's getting a takedown every single round, and that's been the difference in this fight.
He backs up. He's content to let Kendall up. And now they're back toe-to-toe. We're under a minute in this 3-round heavyweight matchup. It's the main event of our amateur part of the card tonight here at Bamma, USA.
Dave Kendall needs to do something spectacular here if he's going to pull this fight out. James Wilson's kind of basically figured out time a strike, push him against the cage, go for a takedown.
Yeah, Kendall's basically got less than 30 seconds to finish the cannibal James Wilson. He's got to finish him. The scorecards are not going to tip in his favor.
This is not the way to go about it, getting your back pushed up against the cage by James Wilson.
Unless you can get a guillotine right here and choke him out, and not much time for that. We're under 10 seconds left in round number 3 of the heavyweights. Knees to the midsection, a great investment early on. Not going to do it now. He fades into the clock, zeroing out of oblivion.
This fight's going to the scorecards. James Wilson dominating this fight on takedowns, and that's basically the story of the whole fight.
Yep, coming up next, the decision, the verdict for the big boys. Welcome back to Palm Springs, California, here at Bamma, USA, the alpha amateur portion of our Pro-Am show in the books. And while this is not a court show, we are on the edge of our seats waiting to go to the judges. Let's see what they had to say with the decision.
After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge LaBelle scores it 30-27 for Wilson. Judge Peoples scores it 30-27.5 for Wilson. And Judge Dean scores it 30-27 for your winner, James Wilson.
Yeah, a well-earned victory by Wilson, too. Again, he had a game plan. He stuck to it against a man just as large as he was. And like you said, he controlled him and tossed him around almost at will.
Yeah, Dave Kendall, a little passive in his offense. I think he needs to work on his aggressiveness a little bit more, start working on his striking a little bit more. I mean, he's young. He's just had his first amateur fight. Right. Good growing experience, getting 6 full minutes of fighting in.
Yeah, that's some tape to study. You'll see when he throws the shot and then Wilson comes under. Next round he throws a shot and Wilson comes under. That's what we call a pattern.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to scare you too much because you're very close. Stay with us. More to come here at Bamma, USA in Palm Springs, California. A hot place about to get hotter.